Bonnie Kissinger here with Get Healthier Coaching. This is a beginner's yoga video. We're going to focus on 3 poses: Crescent, Eagle pose, and wide leg straddled pose. So let's get started. Crescent pose is a really good pose for runners, so we're going to do this 3 different times, adding in some modifications. So Crescent pose, we'll start with our left foot forward, and we plant our foot really well, lifting the toes, and it's a long step back. Long step back. Notice that the hips are forward, my heart is lifted, and if you can see back here, my leg is straight and my toes are up, and I'll turn sideways here in a second. So Crescent pose on our left side. For the runners, this is a really good pose to get into the hip flexors and a little bit of the quad, but sometimes we end up bending our leg, and that takes the stretch out of it. So we want to straighten the leg. And then the rest of Crescent poses, we inhale up, and the heart is lifted. It's a little bit of a back bend. The hands are reaching up and going backwards. They're almost facing backwards, but my shoulders are pulling down my back. So Crescent pose on the left side. Notice that the knee is not wobbling around, it is very strong, and that the foot on the floor, the toes are lifted, very strong pose. This is a wonderful pose for stretching a lot of things, getting into the back. Okay, so we come up, and we're going to step forward, and then go ahead and step back with your left. It's a long step back. The front leg, try to get to 90 degrees, but most important, not letting the knee go in at all. The knee comes out, toes are lifted. The left leg is straight right here. Okay? And then inhale the hands up and Crescent on the right side. The hands are reaching up, they're nice and strong. I'm lifting my torso up. A little bit of a back bend. Still breathing. And then hands down and then inhale up. So I'm going to do it to the side. You go ahead and stay facing forward. So Crescent on the left side again. Notice the long step back. If you want to be up higher, first of all, so we're on the left leg, the toes are lifted. This leg is really strong. He's not going anywhere. Do this with me. This leg is straight. A lot of the times I see my clients and they'll do this and I'm like, no, straight leg, straighten the leg, straighten the leg. You really have to push this hamstring up. And notice that my toes are straight up. You know, they're not like this. Excellent work for the feet. So working on that, get that leg straight. This is how you're going to get into the hip flexor, into the psoas. And then as you lift up, you're nice and strong. You can look up this time if you'd like. You should feel a stretch all the way here. If that leg is straight, it's a lot of work, and you should feel a stretch going all the way up here. And the hands down, inhale up, and we'll try the other side. Okay? Right foot forward, left foot steps back long. This leg is straight. If you need to be up higher to get the leg straight, your hip flexor coming into psoas muscle, lower psoas, upper psoas up here. So as you sink down, the leg stays straight, foot stays engaged, and then inhale the hands up. Remembering that the front knee is strong, front toes are lifted. And inhaling up. And one more time on each side. Left foot forward, right foot steps back. Left leg, right leg is very straight. Straight, straight, straight. Really push that heel back. Lift these toes up, inhaling up. Your gaze can go up. The balance will be harder with the gaze up. Hands are reaching up. Heart is lifting up towards the ceiling. If you have any more room, go ahead and lower down, keeping the back leg straight. And then inhaling, hands up, step up, and step back. Strong front leg, toes are lifted, back leg is straight, incredibly straight. Get the knee straight. Feel that stretch, lift up the abs, and then reach your hands up and look Looking up if you'd like. Remember to breathe. Lowering down a little bit if you can. And then inhaling up, step up, and then shake, step around. Okay, eagle pose is a balanced pose, good for inner thigh. And we'll practice with our block. So the first part of eagle pose is just to have fun with it. So we're going to start on our left leg, and the block is to my left a little bit. Okay, so eagle pose is when this toe, you pull your inner thighs around so much and the toe wraps around your calf. Mine doesn't get all the way there, so you're balancing here. The option is to put your foot right there. The foot's active, pushing down. The key is the inner thigh work right here is excellent. Okay, toes on the floor are lifted, they're not grabbing. Okay, and then the opposite arm is on top, so the right crosses under the left. Rest of eagle, wonderful arm stretch. The fingers are active. You could stay here as a modification for tight shoulders. So then inhaling, arms open and standing up. And we'll try the other side. Standing on the right. Really engage the inner thighs here to wrap around, stopping at the block if you want. And then the right arm on top. Fingers, if you're here, the hands are active, reaching up. My elbows are pushing against each other for the tight shoulders or wrapping all the way around, and the thumbs back towards my nose. And inhaling open. Okay. So we'll try that pose again, balancing. So finding the left foot, planting the toes well. And it helps for the balance if you're focusing on a point. I have this hard floor, so I found a knob, and I'm going to stare at it. So then I wrap my legs. Okay. And then left on the top. So the rest of eagle is when you squat down. This takes a lot of balance, a lot of mental energy to balance, to squat down. Notice that my foot, it's working. I'm squeezing really hard. This is excellent leg work. I'm not stressing about getting my toes behind my calf. Squatting down as much as I can. And inhaling up. Shake around a little bit. And then plant the left. Find your balance point. Switch to the right. Find your balance point. You'll find that maybe one leg is different than the other. You might have a hip stretch. And then the right on the top. And balancing for eagle pose. Find your breath. Nice and easy. And inhaling up. And shake her a little bit. Okay. I'm going to move my mat sideways. You can just change how you are orientated on your mat. This wide leg straddle pose is really good for inner thigh, and it's outside leg work. So you want to find kind of a leg's length or more. You don't want to feel any pulling at this point. If you pull an inner thigh muscle, runners, it's terrible. It's hard to heal. I did that last year, and I healed through it while running, but it was hard. So notice that my feet are parallel to the edge of the mat. They're pointed straight forward, and my toes are lifted. If you feel like you have more space. The key of this is that we're going to come down with a flat back, and you might end up stopping here. So grabbing your block and being here is okay. but my back is flat. So this is a really wonderful hamstring stretch, but we don't want our back rounded. So if you're up here, right here, that's fine. You could do this on your counter. That might help. For those that have more flexibility, if you wanted to stretch your legs out and get your hands all the way down to a flat back, this is a great place to aim towards. See, my feet are still working, lifting up. This is where you get the outside work because my arches aren't caved down. They're still working. So using your core coming up, and you can inch your feet forward and shake. We're going to do that 2 more times, adding on a little bit. So this next one, legs wide. Okay, I have control of my core and coming down to either my block or the flat back. And we're going to add a twist here. So you can get your left hand on your hip and twisting around, noticing that my hips aren't moving much, and my back is tight so I can't twist much. If you wanted your hand up, just be kind on the shoulders. And release down. Right hand on the right hip, open up. This is the first stop. If you had more flexibility, opening. Don't forget to breathe through this, keeping the toes lifted. And coming down. Find your core, come up, and then if you feel froggy, stepping forward. Okay, and then the last one. Legs are wide. Find your abs. You're bringing your heart forward as you're coming down, so if your hamstrings are really tight, you just might end up here, and that's okay. If you were here, we're going to stretch to the side, so you would start here, and this would be okay. If you can come all the way down, then we walk our hands over to the left. You're trying to bring your left ribs towards your left thigh, not rounding the back so much, but folding. Or you could be here. This is a really good stretch for the shoulders and the back. And walking to the center, and then over to the other side. So you might be here, or all the way here. And then back to center. Find your abs and coming up and feet together. There you go. Good job.